Hello everyone. This post is going to be in the video, but as you can see, it's very dark, and you probably cannot see me properly. And I like it that way because I am not very keen on spotlight, but I see that a lot of people use video as the medium. This is my first attempt. Let's see. I don't want to be posting videos. I just want to convey the message. So this is about a post that some psychologist posted on the platform X, and it says that most of the clients who come for therapy want validation. They already have a script in their mind. They already have a certain judgment in their mind, which says that the client is correct and the other person in the story of the client is someone who is wrong, and they want the validation from the psychologist that they are right, that is the client is right, and the other person in the client story is wrong. So the psychologist says that this is not correct. If you want really growth as a person, then you need to seek truth and not validation. If you um, if you want the if you want comfort, then you should um, rather not come for therapy, something like that. He talks about basically what he's saying is that don't be judgmental about other person when you're coming to seek therapy. Ask what I am missing, what were my shortcomings in this story, which led to this particular scenario that I have to come to seek therapy from you. And they say that they don't want the person coming to seek therapy to label other person as a villain. So my take on this is that this is a very this kind of post, or this, I have seen this kind of sentiment from psychologists before, and I really don't think that this is something which is appropriate. Reason being, someone who is coming to seek therapy from a psychologist on their own, first of all, is a sign that that person is quite mature, because coming to seek therapy is not what a lot of people do on their own. A lot of people who are not very well aware, who go by what the society says, have this stigma that if you go and seek therapy, that somehow you are damaged person, that somehow like society will see you. Most of the time in the older generations, people thought that only someone who is not mentally sound would go and seek therapy. So you know someone who's going to seek therapy on their own so that they can cope with the life better, so that they can handle the situation better, is a mature person. That's a sign that that person is a conscious person, well aware of the situation and wants to improve the situation. So by saying initially to that person that don't expect validation, you are kind of deterring that person, and you are kind of snatching one of the motives which might be motivating that person to come to therapy. Because like, when you are going through a traumatic, you don't come to therapy for casual things. You come to therapy only because your life is in a total mess, or you're going through a really tough patch, a difficult period in your life, and you want therapy to help you deal with it. Because suppose you are a software engineer, suppose you are a developer, suppose you are a engineer who is working in, you're a structural engineer who is building bridges, and you're going through tough time. Your brain needs to focus on the work that you are doing. The emotional turmoil in your life, if your brain will handle that as well, then it is too much for your brain. Either it will become overwhelmed and stop performing as it is performing, or there'll be something else which will happen. So the reason to come to therapy is so that you can focus on the parts of your life which are which only you can take care of, and the other parts, the emotional turmoil, which you might not have very much knowledge about how to handle it, or you need assistance, you can go to someone like a therapist who can help you deal with it. So by saying that don't seek validation, or don't have preconceived notions right at the beginning in a post like that, is kind of demotivating a person to seek therapy. That's my opinion. Reason being, the reason is that you don't go to therapy just like that. As I said earlier, you go to therapy when you are going through a traumatic experience. And when you're going to a traumatic experience, especially when men are involved, you will notice that men don't talk about their traumatic experiences or difficult situations of life to everyone. They keep it to themselves, one or two friends maybe, and that too they don't tell the whole story. It's very little that they talk about. Might be the case with women also. No stereotyping from my side. Many women might not be wanting to tell because, we all know that not everybody wants our well-being, and a lot of people in the back of their mind are pretty happy to see other people fail. So why talk about your problems? So there are not many people you talk about your traumatic experiences, your difficult circumstances too. So when you go to a therapist, you definitely are seeking validation of your traumatic experience. And since you are going for therapy, that means that you are definitely having, like, as I said earlier, a person who is full of ego, a person who doesn't want to own up to their mistakes, will not be the one going to therapy. That's, sure. That person might go under pressure, but on their own, these kind of people usually don't go and seek therapy. So when you're saying don't come for validation, that's pretty wrong, because validation and acceptance is the first step that the psychologist should be looking to provide to the person who's coming to seek therapy. Once you validate their traumatic experience, once you validate their suffering, once you validate that yes, they are right and the other person is wrong, they will accept the situation. They are battling that situation in their mind. They are still struggling to accept that what has happened to them. So once you give them that validation as a psychologist, as a therapist, they will accept that okay, someone is understanding me, someone is understanding my situation, and it gives them relief, it gives them calm. Their emotional body, their emotional mind is like in a very bad place. It's kind of in a sad place. It needs love, and by accepting that situation, by validating that situation, a therapist is providing that soothing experience to this person, that yes, I understand that you are going through a difficult situation, I understand that wrong is being done to you. But if the psychologist says no, if that person tries to be politically correct all the time as a psychologist, saying no, no, you have not understand the situation, you were wrong here, or that's not help. That will not help that person. So initially you need to validate the traumatic experience, the suffering, the wrongdoing that has happened to the person, to the client who's coming to seek therapy. You need to understand that first of all, this person has come to seek therapy. You need to validate the suffering of this person. Only when that soothing experience, soothing feeling, soothing message is given to that client, that they will be able to at least understand that someone else they can talk to in confidentiality is accepting their situation. And thereafter, after some time, then you can go ahead and talk to them that maybe we should look at other things also in your story, um, at points where you might be wrong, at points where the other person might be right, or what were the dynamics which led to this kind of situation. But this is the problem with social media, especially when you are posting in a written text form, that it cannot be as elaborate. You cannot elaborate yourself to the point where your message is given to the public in a proper manner, like I'm doing right now. I choose to write sometimes on X, and I choose to record my thoughts in audio. This is the first time I'm doing it in video. But the reason is this, that you cannot always properly explain what you're trying to say. But someone, I have seen this, someone, if they are looking to seek therapy and if they come across things like this, they will be deterred from seeking therapy. Like, don't come us, don't come to us for validation, or don't come to us with preconceived notions that you are the right one or you are the wrong one. I understand that some of the people, let's say that they were person A and person B in a story, and person B is going to psychologist B and person A is going to psychologist A, and if we assume that person A was actually the wrong one, the oppressor, the narcissist, or the wrong one, and that person A is going to psychologist A and saying that I was the victim, something wrong was done to me. Even in that case, even if that person was wrong in the story, even if in that case that person has come to a therapist under pressure or under certain circumstances, person B might be the victim, might be the empath, might be the actual victim, might be the empath, and is gone to, you know, psychologist B and might be willing to, might be more open, but the other type of people who are full of ego, the person A, say, narcissist, if that person is also told that don't label, even though that person is, the actual perpetrator of the problem in the scenario, even if that person, even though it's right to say to that person that don't blame the other person, which in this hypothetical situation is person B, and we know that person B wasn't at fault. Even in this case, I will say that don't say it initially. Understand and listen to the narcissist so that the guard of ego can go down, and maybe if they're carrying a wound, or if they are having the capability to cut down their narcissistic traits, and for that they require someone to agree to their issues, let them say that something wrong was done to them. And if at all, if at all a psychologist has to give out this message which I just read, that don't seek validation, don't come with preconceived notions that you are the right one and the other person is the wrong one, and you know um, that's not the validation that a psychologist will provide. For growth you need to seek the truth. If this is the message you want to give, then explain in terms of personality, which personality type of person this message is for. Explain it in detail. People do have a basic idea these days of what personality type they are, because this one information wasn't that much readily available earlier, but now it is. So just a thought from my side that um, psychology should be clear, and your messages should not, because there are very few psychologists who are capable of actually helping people. Most of the psychologists are, there are various categories. Let me not go on that. A lot of people look for just business, they want people coming back to them, and a lot of people are not very much have theoretical knowledge, but they don't understand the real life scenarios. And there are others who are capable of actually helping and have good knowledge. If those kind of people will also go ahead and send these kind of messages, then I believe people might stop coming to good therapists, and it will be a shame if that happens. So we need to make sure that the messages that we are conveying to general public are much clearer and much more focused, with proper information and also relevance, and mentions which type of personality type these messages are, these messages are like, who all are, for whom these messages apply. That should be mentioned in those kind of posts. Yeah, thanks.